Overwintering Basjoo, the hardy banana. There's been a lot of debate of whether or not you need to overwinter or try to protect Basjoo. And the simple answer is, well, it depends on what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve full height of the banana, keeping the pseudostem from year to year to grow taller and taller and eventually flower, then you do need to protect in most places in the UK. If you're happy for it to grow from the ground each year, reach 5, 6, 7 foot, then you can just do nothing at all. It'll get cut back to the ground in most winters, and then they'll reshoot each spring. As long as you've had the banana plant itself established for a full growing season or more, it doesn't need any protection as such. Maybe you want to mulch over the base of the plants once the frost has killed the top growth. That's all it needs, and it will reshoot each spring, no problem whatsoever. Now, most people do try to save the stems, and one way of doing that is simply digging up the plant, potting it and putting it into a frost-free place, into a garage, into a shed where it doesn't really need any light because you can cut the leaves off, and it will survive 99 winters out of 100 in the garage like that, keeping the stem. Even really small little pups at the bottom, like the one in the middle of the frame, that would be fine, dug up, put in a pot, and it will survive winter no problem. Even if it does get frosted a bit, it'll still survive from the roots. Now, if you want to keep it in situ, if you've got a big plant that's grown really well over summer, you don't want to be digging it up, moving it about. So the most common thing that people do to try to save these is to build a frame around them, insulate the pseudostems and keep them dry. There are several things you can do. You can use a chimney stack, so old chimney pots, fill them with straw, put a cover over the top. You can use chicken wire around them, again fill with straw and keep the rain off the top. Or you can use loft insulation and then put a plastic membrane over the top that's breathable. And again, this works for many people. I'm going to show you a way of using wood, chicken wire, straw to protect these plants over winter. So I've decided I'm going to dig up some of the Basjoo stems and leave some in situ. I'm going to protect those with straw and a plastic top to keep out the rain. But for a few of these stems, I'm actually going to dig them up and store them in the garage. You can see the main plant down here. It's got a very thick rhizome, a bit like a colocasia, with the main stem coming out, and all these little pups have come up this year surrounding it, and some smaller ones on this side. So these outer ones are the ones I'm going to dig up and keep in the garage. This clump over here, which is pretty close, I'm going to cover with straw and protect in situ. So all we need to do is get a spade in. That comes away nice and easily. So that must be potted up and put into the garage just like that and kept moist over winter. So I'm just going to put some garden soil on the pot. Lift up the plant, squeeze that in there.
Why is the leaf stuck, Mummy?
And then stick a bit of garden soil around it.
You push me too. This is not really working, this one. Flat and wet.
That'll be fine. Left in the garage over winter. As the leaves get burnt off with the frost, I will cut them back. But apart from that, it'll be left as it is till about March, April time. We'll bring it out, let it start growing, and then put it back in the ground. So as you can see, I've carried on digging up some more Basjoo plants, even some pretty small ones here. And these will all make it through the winter. So these will be placed in the garage right now. given a good soak. Just let the soil settle around the roots and they'll be left there all winter. So now we're left with the main plant, which will be overwintered in situ. And you can see this main rhizome here. Very strong, very hard. These black points would be new shoots, new Overwinter Basjoo stems would arise from these. Some closer to the ground will form. And these obviously have already formed this year and grown up to be about 5 foot tall. Right, so the first thing you have to do is cut back all the foliage off the plants and see how much height you're left with. The next stage is to get 4 bamboo canes that are a good thickness all the way along and place these around your clump and press them in a good 6-8 inches so they're nice and firm. Now the next stage is to secure the chicken wire in place with some twine. Continue going round the chicken wire, attaching twine around the chicken wire to the bamboo posts that are in the ground. Now that the chicken wire is securely fastened to the bamboo canes, we can start filling the structure. Now you can put straw straight away into this, but I like to put some old fleece down first, just to stop all the damp earth coming into contact with the straw, which can soak up all the moisture and make everything wet. So the next thing I'm going to do is put some old fleece around the Overwinter Basjoo clumps. And the reason I put the chicken wire around in the first place is just to make it a nice solid structure, rather than just using fleece all the way up. So if we take a look inside the structure, you can see I put fleece all the way around the bottom of the base of the Overwinter Basjoo stems, around each one, stuffing it in quite tightly so there's no gaps between the bottom and where it meets the soil, all the way around. Now the next stage is a fun bit, and that's filling it up with straw. Obviously you need to do this whole process on a dry day because you don't want wet straw, because that defeats the object of keeping everything dry inside. So this bale here, about 4 foot by 2 foot, costs £3 from a local farm. Basically all you need to do is ring up your local stables or pop around to your local farm, and most of them will sell straw bales like this. Now if you do have a choice, ask for barley straw rather than wheat straw. Barley straw is reportedly less likely to rot. In fact, it inhibits rot, so it's probably the best type of straw to use is barley straw. Right, so the next thing is to put the straw on top of the fleece inside the structure. You want this to be compacted somewhat, but not as compacted as when you've actually got the straw bale. It needs air in it, so try to open it up a bit and make sure there's no large air pockets in there. As you can see, this is a very messy job indeed. Now, as you can see, I've reached the top of the stems of the Musa Basjoo and also the top of the chicken wire. So we need to place some more chicken wire on top of this so we can carry on filling with straw. Now with all that in position, it's time to put more straw in top, so there's a good depth of straw above the top of the Musa Basjoo stems. This is to stop frost penetrating from above as well as the sides. Now with the straw all in place, it's time to wrap fleece around the whole structure. So I've loosely taped that in position. Now I'm going to use some twine to loop around the structure and tie it more securely. Now with the fleece securely around the structure, it's time to shorten the bamboo canes so they're just a little bit higher than the rest of the straw. Now the next stage is to make this thing waterproof by putting a plastic sheet over the top, as well as adding the final bit of the straw. And tie this in place with more twine. So with the plastic cover in place and the fleece and the straw, it's time, if you want, just to put a nice decorative feature on it, because obviously it's a bit of an eyesore in the garden this, so you can put some reed fencing around this so it looks a bit more pleasing to the eye. So that's what I'll do next. So that's Musa Basjoo wrapped up for winter. It's end of October right now, very end of October, 30th. This was taking place till early March, where I'll take the top off, see what's underneath, hopefully all the stem will be in place. And then as I see some growth, I'll take the top off, take the straw down, and then come mid-April, I'll take everything away and let it get on with it for summer. Hopefully by the end of next summer, it should be about